This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Grant All with us here. Grant, you understand offsides in soccer? You know, I mean, you're not just a three major sports guy that we talk about. You know your soccer stuff, so I'm guessing you understand offsides fairly well.
I coached my daughter's soccer team when she was in grade school without really knowing the rules. Now I know a little bit more now. My son Scott really knows a lot about it, but we watched together on Dixon Street 8 years ago, and people were packing all the places. I mean, it's really impressive. I think it's great that the scene in Kansas City that they keep showing, where downtown is packed. And that goal by Pulisic yesterday, I was thinking, Matt, and by the way, I'm impressed with your soccer knowledge.
I'm just a fan. Yeah.
No kidding. No, you might just be a fan, but you know your stuff.
I mean, that might go down in my top 10 all-time sports thrills moment when he did that, just the way.
It was cool, huh? Yeah.
He becomes, there's a real chance for him to become a real American hero now, especially if he can come back and play as he said he thinks he will on Saturday.
Yeah, he was at Dortmund. He's at Chelsea now, and he's last year he played a little more, but Tuchel was their coach, and they got a new coach now and he just if you fall out of favor, man, they change coaches. You know how the NFL has Black Friday? They'll fire you after 3 games. They don't care.
Yeah, and it's an interesting mix. But a long time ago, Laney Van Eaven coached basketball at Arkansas in the early '70s. I remember him telling me one time that he thought soccer was going to really rise in this country because when you think about it, all you need is a ball. I mean, there's not a whole lot of it. So, in other words, anybody can play it, whether you kid that money or not. And it's taken a long time, but it's finally reaching a pretty good place in this country.
Well, there was a moment in the 1970s when Pele played for the New York Cosmos I was a baby basically. It's not like I was experiencing it then, but like that they had like 58,000 people, 68,000 people, a giant stadium for Cosmos games, but it didn't hook on the way that I think people expected. And truthfully too, like the NHL hockey is always going to lag behind the other 3 major sports. It may end up lagging behind soccer at some point. The 1980 Olympics, while it is a moment that everybody talks about as being a watershed moment in sports in this country, I don't think it led to some, major surge of love for hockey either. So that is one thing. I just wonder if moments like this necessarily spur to like something becoming the next big thing. I still do think soccer is ending up going to be the next big thing. And Grant, like I have nerves about this. I'm a baseball guy, and there are parts of me that right now sees that soccer might actually be a little more popular than baseball in some cases.
Wow. Well, President Biden talked about it yesterday. I wondered if somehow the U.S. could make it to the finals, would there be a national holiday? I don't think so at this point, but it's fun right now.
They could be. They match up against the Netherlands. I mean, Netherlands definitely are favored. The thing that we have going for us now is we have about 5 players on the team that play in the SEC football league over there. They play professional, big time soccer, and so once we can get some more, then we'll be. Hopefully, we'll be a little better. But Messi.
Well, I guess.
They said David Beckham is trying to get Messi over here at the end of his career, so that would be a good. I mean, he's still the best. I mean, Mbappe's giving him a run for his money, but Messi can do everything.
Interesting. Well, Netherlands is number 8, and USA is number 16. So I guess they're a little bit of a favorite.
They have the best defensive player, Virgil van Dijk, in the world, and then I like Rudiger too, he's Germany. But those are probably the 2 best defensive players. Yeah, so they have some real studs.
Grant, I want to get into some of the stuff going on with the Hogs here, and it's more. Their game against Mizzou and the loss, and basketball team beat Troy. Women's basketball gets Troy tomorrow night. But more of the stories are about, players that are leaving in football, or that we're expecting to see more, because there've only been a couple of major names that have announced that they're. I don't even think it's the portal. It's that Hazelwood said he's not going to play in the bowl game. Ricky Stromberg announced he's he's entering the draft. He didn't say anything about the bowl game, so I guess I'm assuming Ricky Stromberg will play in the bowl. And then the deal with Devo Davis, that he's taking time away, which has been a very kind of an odd situation. Also considering that coincides with the time that Nick Smith starts getting some minutes, and I'm assuming his minutes will grow from 6 or 7 or whatever it is the other night, and that those minutes that he gets may have ended up being some of Devo's minutes.
Well, I would expect Nick, who I understand may have had an arthroscope 3-4 weeks ago on the knee, and you can tell he's still limping a little bit, but he maybe would get 8 minutes in each half or something like that on Saturday. Devo, someone was telling me that at halftime over there of the San Diego State game, afterwards, he and Coach Muss may have gotten into it, and of course there were no writers. The only writer in the mainland there was a guy from San Diego who wrote about the fracas the stuff afterwards. But that Devo sat at the end of the bench and if you remember at the end of the second half, guys, that's when Kamani Johnson kind of became the spiritual leader of this team, and not only did that, but had the key tip in, and then the other night, Council is the guy. I mean, I think Eric said it, and I was thinking, and he's kind of the go-to scorer on this team right now. And of course, Anthony Black played great in Maui, so you still got a lot of firepower there. But I think they would miss Devo if he didn't come back, because he can do a lot of good things for you. Yeah,
he's our best on-ball defender. He's kind of I don't know what's going on there either. I hope everybody, you get a lot of alphas in the room, and it's sometimes they butt heads. So and everybody that's played ball, you got your butt chewed before.
But Grant, you hit on something that I mean I don't know what happened, but you could tell that something happened at halftime of that Wednesday game against San Diego State, because Devo played 17 minutes in the first half, and it wasn't that he didn't play in the second half. It was that he was motionless on the bench. He barely ever moved. And that was an amazing second half in overtime, and he was just kind of like sitting there just watching it with his head in his hands, just looked disinterested. And it's interesting how you mentioned that Kamani Johnson has sort of become, I don't remember the term you used, but he's like the emotional guy now of this team. You got two returners for this team. One of them is now taking time away, and I think that really shocks a lot of people for whatever the reason is, because Devo seems like a gym rat and a baller, and I think he is. But Kamani was the guy who was struggling to get playing time. And that second half against San Diego State might have changed his fortunes for at least the foreseeable future as far as getting on the floor.
Yeah, and even though when he wasn't playing those first two games in Maui, he was the first guy, to congratulate guys at timeouts and stuff. And then now he's getting it done. He played 32 minutes, I think, the other night, which I think was a high for him at Arkansas. So they're still. It's going to be fascinating to watch what happens with this basketball team in terms of personnel and everything. I mean, golly, it's like the waiver wire in football every day. You got to see who's playing. By the way, you mentioned Stromberg. According to the Democrat Gazette today, that sources said they didn't think he would play in the bowl game. Okay. And Hazelwood either. And if that's the case, that's two big players and leaders for you. So I think Hazelwood has had the shoulder injury. He's also, I think I saw him kind of tweak a knee in practice over there the last time, and maybe that's a factor with him. But it's going to be ready. Where do you guys think Arkansas is going to go? Do you have any inkling on the bowl situation?
I think it's Memphis. I think it's the Liberty Bowl. And I think it's going to be Oklahoma. I have no, information coming in here. I'm just going by what I'm reading, and the idea that I think Arkansas can sell tickets, especially when it's a close bowl like that. So I think it's either Memphis or Houston for the Texas Bowl. But something just feels, like we're crossing just barely over the Mississippi, Grant.
I'm still holding out for the Las Vegas. Someone mentioned maybe Arkansas, UCLA in the Las Vegas Bowl, because I'm going to be out there playing golf in Arizona till the 15th. It would be an easy trip over 2 days later.
Nice.
And I did hear that Pittman wanted to play somewhere rather early in the bowl season and kind of be able to concentrate on the transfer portal and the recruiting and all this stuff for next year. So I don't know. And I heard this morning that someone mentioned that Kendall Briles may be a possibility to go to Florida Atlantic University. So there's a lot of stuff going on right now at the University of Arkansas.
What do you think for the transfer portal? Do if Kendall Briles was to go and you got to get an OC, is the selling point? You got probably the best quarterback returning in the SEC in KJ.
Yeah, there's an interesting thing going on too with the recruitment of Drake Lindsay at Fayetteville High School. I mean, some teams, he's visited Mississippi State and Tennessee. I think maybe Michigan may be interested in him now. And Arkansas doesn't run the kind of offense that would be conducive. So then you think, well, would Sam maybe hire more of a passing game coordinator? And I don't think so. I think Sam is still going to be the kind of coach he is, with great offensive lines and wanting to run the football. And with a quarterback who's not that fast, I don't know that would be a fit. But all of this stuff is fascinating to watch. And one more thing, guys, I don't know what your time situation is, but Phil, the Arkansas women are 8-0 and unranked. And I think no one else in the country, maybe they have now, but as of 2 days ago, no one else had won 8 games undefeated. So they're in the 28th spot. Not sure what it's going to take to get them ranked. But they got this Troy team coming in tomorrow night, and Chelsea Dungy is an assistant coach for Troy. So that's an interesting little sidelight there. Yeah,
that'll be great to see. Now, I saw Chelsea, gosh, she was at the NCAA tournament game in March. She shows up at Arkansas games, and she's going to show up on the other bench this time around, which feels weird. And it's a good thing, I think, for them that they're not ranked right now. Keep that chip on the shoulder, you know what I mean? Because they've already been playing like that. So it's a lockdown defensive team that Mike has, Grant. And I don't remember saying that too often. It's not just defense; it's rebounding. It's a lot of the things that truthfully, the program has had some troubles with before that they're doing really well right now.
Yeah, I talked to Poffenbarger after the last game just briefly, and she's really come on now and scoring. I guess she's the freshman of the week this week, and that's a pretty tough lineup. I mean, you may be right, Phil. They maybe can just use it as fuel that they're not ranked.
Yeah, I would use more of worry about if you're ranked or not once it comes to tournament time. End of November, if you're not, you look at it as a positive thing because now you can just be ticked about it. Grant, we'll leave it there. Go ahead.
Well, I was just on your national championship discussion of football. I don't think Alabama's totally out of it, but some strange things would have to happen this week. But they really needed to be in that 5 spot. I agree with you, Phil, about that instead of 6. But if you have what if LSU beats Georgia? What if TCU loses and USC and so forth? But it's not beyond. Strange things could still happen.
Yeah, and it's been a crazy season already, so you can't put anything past what this sport's got going on right now.
Football is back, and BetOnline remains your number one source for all your football betting needs this season. You'll find the latest odds, matchup info, player news, and game trends. And as your continued source for all sports wagering info, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, live scores, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports and events like MLB, MMA, tennis, boxing, and even golf. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 100% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. Bet online, where the game starts.